Queen here, Life After Money. The video I did the other day about my trucking life seems to have gone down quite well, so I think I'm going to carry on with it, and it's going to be quite a long series of videos. I don't want to make them much longer than about 15-20 minutes at most. And I've been sorting through my photographs, my memorabilia, my press cuttings, my diaries, and I've got such a lot to put into the videos. So I'm trying to get it into some kind of order so as not to confuse people. But and you'll have to bear with me because I'm going to have to do it in my own time, when I've got time. So the first one was about how I started and having my lessons and passing my test. I've got notes, by the way. I need notes. Looking for work, being rejected constantly, because nobody would believe that I wanted to be a lorry driver, or that I could even do it. And then we went on to the first job, which was Nestles at Tutbury. That job was a class 3, and I used to go out every day to shops, factories, cash and carries, delivering my foodstuffs. And one day I would go to Leicester, one day I would go to Nottingham, one day to Retford, one day to Stoke-on-Trent. So from my base just outside Burton-on-Trent, that's what I did, day runs. And there was a lot of lifting in that job, a lot of lifting. Not many places had forklift trucks, and only the bigger warehouses did. But we used to do a lot of small shops and little co-op shops. They used to have little co-op shops on almost every street corner. And so I would turn up with my 100 cases of baked beans or soup or whatever, and they all seemed to have little old men as managers, and I was told, can you put them in there please? And there was nobody to help me, so I had to physically carry those 100 boxes off my truck into the building, up and down the stairs, wherever they wanted them putting. Now, I very soon decided that I was a lorry driver and I should be doing the same job as a man, and I didn't want any easy options. I wasn't going to ask for help. I was just going to knuckle down and get on with it. And that's what I did. The first time I asked for help was quite upsetting actually. I'd moved on to an Arctic for a couple of days, and it was a rope and sheet, still for Nestles, and it was a rope and sheet. I'd got 2 deliveries for Nottingham, and I got to the first one, a large co-op warehouse, and I'm waiting in a queue to get unloaded. So I unwrap my load, take off the ropes and sheets, and you drag the sheet down onto the ground, you roll it up into a bundle, and then you throw it on the back of the trailer as you're moving along in the queue. And I got the sheet off, fine, on the ground, perfect. I said to another driver in front of me, I said, could you just give us a hand to chuck this back up onto the trailer? And I was absolutely gobsmacked when he says, you chose the bloody job, you do it. And I was rather taken aback by that, because I did think that lorry drivers were all out to help each other, you know, but I found out that they're not. So anyway, after that incident, I never asked anybody for help again. I mean, if drivers wanted to help me and I actually needed a little bit of help, well, fine, you know, but I always managed to do the job one way or the other, and that wasn't pretending to be a weak little wimpy female. No, I wasn't a weak little wimpy female. I was a lorry driver, and I was going to show 'em. And so it's nice that some men were chivalrous, you know, and helpful, but there were quite a lot that weren't. And I mean, you talk about, there's a lot of talk about, let me look at the notes. There's a lot of talk about bullying these days. Well, I can tell you that in the early days, or even early years of my trucking, I was bullied. I was bullied a lot. But I used to go home every night and cry because I couldn't understand why these people were horrible to me. All I wanted to do was a job that I wanted to do, you know, and they accused me of taking the job off a man. You know, get back to the kitchen sink, go and cook your husband's dinner. And I cried every night, you know, going home. But there's something in my personality that tells me that I have a right to do whatever I want to do. I always said that I was a lorry driver first, who happened to be a woman. You know, and people always give me that label, you know, first female trucker, you know. Oh, you're the first woman we've had. Oh, and it just tickled me, actually. It just amused me that I was the first woman. And I mean, probably there were women before me because women drove trucks in the war. But in 1976, I didn't see any other women on the road. But yeah, so I would get on with the job and not ask for help, but just do it. Even though it might take an hour or more for me to unload those 100 cases of tins, I would just do it, you know, not complain at all. While I was at Nestles, I decided I would also get a PSV licence because I thought, well, if I have that, it means that I've got an extra string to my bow and I can go and do some bus driving, coach driving. So I went to a PSV driving school, which was also a coach company. They had lots of vehicles, from minibuses to coaches, 53-seater coaches, double-decker buses, really old double-decker buses, I might add, very, very old ones. But anyway, I went along there and they agreed to give me some training on a double-decker, and in exchange for me doing some work for them afterwards, once I passed the test. So that's what happened. I used to go out with the instructor who did a school run, so he would drive the bus while the school children were on it, and then I would take over afterwards and drive the empty bus. And I didn't actually need much training at all for that. And I took the PSV test, public service vehicle. They've changed it now, it says passenger carrying vehicle, same as they've changed the HGV. It's LGV, large goods vehicle, but I shall always refer to it as HGV and PSV. But yeah, so I passed that test, and then I started doing some coaches and buses, day trips. Day trips out on coaches was great. I would take a load of passengers to the seaside, and at the end of the day, they'd all had a good day, you know. They would have a whip round and give me loads of money. So yeah, so my PSV licence, I got 2 licences. But somebody asked about photographs. I do have a lot of photographs, a lot, and I will pick out some of the most relevant ones, some of the best ones. Some of the older photographs, the quality is not that good, and I don't have means to scan them or do it in a professional way, so these videos are just going to be about me chatting, and I will show you some of the pictures and I do have some slides actually, so at some point there will be a slideshow in there. But I've got lots and lots of categories, lots of subtitles to get through, because I wasn't just a lorry driver. Because I was noticed wherever I went, this led to other things as well. So, you know, I'll be talking about the Lady Truckers Club that I started in 1986, and talking about the different jobs I did. Let me just have a quick glance here. Lost the notes now. I lost the notes. Yeah, there's agency work, all the different trucks, the loads carried, the nights out. I slept in the lorry for quite a few jobs where I went to work on a Monday morning and didn't know when I was going to come back home. The truck shows I visited as an ambassador for the Lady Truckers Club, the publicity, the newspapers, the magazines, the TV appearances. Oh, it's never ending. So I wasn't just a lorry driver. I'm going to show you now just a few of the pictures to start off with, see how it goes. I'm going to have to get up from here. I've got them on the table, so all I'm going to do is hover the camera over the top of them and a little bit of chat about that. So bear with me, we're going on a trip. I'll show you my tripod. I haven't actually got a tripod. What I'm using is a stool with a piece of this stuff on it and a little slot in the top where the camera sits. So I'm very good at making do and mend. So let's go and look at these photos. Right, you might get a good idea from this anyway. So the headline in the newspaper article in 1976 was, "Ilona goes from sausages to heavy lorry driving." I actually worked in a sausage factory. And this, the writer who did this article, I actually shared a house with her. So I was fodder for her, one of her stories. So I'm trying not to wobble and shake, but there is my Ford D series, they called it, with a shortish trailer on, and my bell-bottom trousers. Do you remember those? Bell-bottom trousers. It's probably getting a bit out of focus now. So there we are, in the newspaper, 1976, sat in the cab. They always want a shot in the cab. So yes, let's just move over here. I've got some more here. Now the start of my driving career was when I was a car instructor. So my little Simca 1000, and this picture isn't very good, but right, I've got the big hair now, and there's my little Simca 1000. South Derbyshire School of Motoring, based at Etwell in Derbyshire. PSV licence. I have a PSV licence as well. Coaches. Stevenson's was the name of the company. Coaches. 53-seater coaches, and a double-decker bus. Now I borrowed this double-decker bus for a children's outing, children's day out. I borrowed it. Oh my god, that was a beast to drive. I used to do school buses in that as well, picking up and dropping off at schools, but that was a beast to drive. The placard in the window there, which you probably can't read, is the 18 plus group, the Burton 18 plus group. That's Burton-on-Trent, and I was a member of that, so we organised outings for children. And let's move over to this side. I have a motorcycle licence as well. I had this bike, it's a Honda CX500 Custom, and I had this for a while, and there's me in my full gear. Oh, I love that bike. I did start off with a smaller Honda, and then I wanted to progress once I got my license to a bigger one. So I saw this one in a magazine, and I went down to London to have a look at it. I bought it brand new, saved up of course, no HP, and there is my Honda CX500. They're still my favourite bikes. I don't have one now, and I haven't had one since that. Actually, I did sell it. So there you are. There's a few pictures. Shall I put you back a minute? Go back a minute. Did you like that little trip? Yes, I'm gonna do my best with these videos, so you'll have to bear with me. They're not going to be perfect, they're not going to be polished, but they're going to be all about my driving, trucking, bus driving, and anything else. So this is me, Queen, Life After Money. Bye.